Manchester United 1, Fulham 0, and a brilliant debut from Zirkzee and Mazraoui, and they look solid in the 20 minutes, well 10 minutes that he was on the pitch, but Zirkzee gets the goal, he gets the winner in a game that Manchester United very much deserved to win. There was times where Fulham looked good, they grew into the game, but we did enough to win that game, and I'm glad that we got the 3 points. It was a lot better than when we just beat Wolves 1-0, at home last year for the opening game. And this was the lineup on the screen: Mazraoui at right back, Delo at left back, Martinez and Maguire as the centre backs. And I have to say that back four looks solid. I don't think anybody had a bad game. I don't think one player had a bad game. Bruno should have put one of his chances away, but he was really important into the goal and, important in build-up and had some good moments. But that was the lineup. But interestingly, no Sancho in the squad. Not in the squad, assuming he's sort of being kicked out, forced to leave. That could be a suggestion of Sancho's future. But let's talk about Joshua Zirkzee. Then we're going to talk about Mazraoui. I've sort of done these slides here, sort of going through each player and some statistics to give you guys the most in-depth analysis I could. I did all this on the train on the way home because I've been out in London. So Zirkzee got the goal. Obviously, he was really good when he came on. He's very different. He described himself as a 9.5. He's not quite got the box instincts of Højlund, when I think someone laid in a really, really good cross across the box. Was it Rashford maybe? Højlund maybe would have been there. But he gets involved in play, he drops deep, he picks up the ball, he lays on a pass, he runs forward, and his ability to sniff out space is absolutely incredible. And what a well-taken finish as well. Proper striker's goal, probably been working with Ruud van Nistelrooy on that as well. 0.15 XG did well, and this is how I summed up Zirkzee. He reads the game so well out of possession. He knows where to position himself, he knows where to be, he knows where to make those runs. His reading of the game and understanding of where the ball's going to be, where it's going to be played, his tactical IQ is incredible. He's obviously known for being so tactically and technically good and intelligent, which is something that we've lacked: intelligence and technical ability. He drops deep to help and build up this completely unique profile that not many players in football can do. And this unique profile means he can play with Højlund and instead of Højlund, and give Ten Hag, a super sub with tactical versatility. He drops deep to help and build up for United. He's able to float into space. His IQ is like he knows where the ball's going to be. You know how we talk about how McTominay can come off the bench and score goals because of those box crashing runs he makes? Well, that's what Zirkzee can do, but he's actually really technically good, unlike McTominay, good on the ball and good in build-up. Zirkzee will make those box-crashing runs where he almost ghosts out of nowhere. No one knows where he's going to be. It was fantastic, and that's how he got the goal. His runs that he did make as well, there was a time where he made a run, and maybe Bruno should have laid it into him, but Bruno shot. But his run dragged the defender out, which created space for Bruno to move into. It's just those intelligent things that he does, and he just crashes the box for his goal. And he's not a 10, he's not a 9, he's a 9.5, and that's how he describes himself. And he's such a unique profile that I think it's going to be such a good tactical asset for Manchester United. The runs he makes, his intelligence off the ball. I honestly think Joshua Zirkzee is phenomenal. You know me, I've been talking about this guy since January. I said in February, Joshua Zirkzee is the striker Man United should get because he's got a 34 million release clause. And I said we need someone that's really different to Højlund because Højlund doesn't get service. So if you do get Sesko, who I really liked, he's going to have the same situation as Højlund with no service. Zirkzee is someone that can play with Højlund, offers something completely different. He's 23 and had a 34 million release clause. He was the guy I wanted. If you know me, I'm talking about him a while. I always wanted Zirkzee. I was really impressed with Mazraoui. Now, Mazraoui is a player that I haven't seen a lot of him at Bayern Munich because of his injuries, but I remember watching him at Ajax and thinking that's a player there. 55 touches, 35 out of 38 passes completed, 3 out of 3 ground duels won, 3 out of 4 aerial duels won, 3 interceptions. Really, really impressive game by Mazraoui. I was super impressed with him. I actually thought he was probably the best player along with Maguire in terms of across the 90 minutes. I think him and Maguire probably impressed me the most. His ability to win his aerial duels, 3 out of 4, 3 out of 3 ground duels won. Fulham is a tough physical game. Neil Smith-Rowe had a really good preseason. He's an exciting talent. Traore was also obviously on the other side, but they've got a lot of players that are going to cause you problems. But Smith-Rowe ghosted, and Mazraoui did really well defensively, made interceptions. But I think what I noticed is when he gets the ball and build up, he was totally press resistant. It was such a good performance from Mazraoui. Press resistant, carrying the ball well. I was so impressed with his technical ability. Mazraoui and Zirkzee, technically, I was so impressed with the technical ability that they brought to United. They looked technically really good. And positionally, I think, he was really intelligent. He was really aware of his surroundings positionally. He knew where to mark players. Fulham did not get much luck down that side, and they obviously made subs to try and change out. I think positionally, not just in defending, but also when we have possession, his ability to move. I think you can tell he knows Ten Hag's system. He knows when Ten Hag wants him to commit to the press. He knows when Ten Hag wants him to drift inside, overlap, underlap. I think positionally, his movement off the ball, defensively and going forward, was really good. His ability to win duels impressed me. I didn't think he was that good in terms of a duel winner, but he really did impress me. And technically, he's just so good. You could see that he lifted the level of the squad technically. I liked Wan-Bissaka, but you can see when Mazraoui's on the ball, he does not care. He can take that touch, he can receive at any angle. He's two-footed and so technically good. So Mazraoui and Zirkzee, really impressive debuts. Obviously, De Ligt only got 10-15 minutes, but De Ligt looked pretty solid when he was on as well. Didn't put a foot wrong. Johnny Evans looked really good as well, to be fair to him as well, because Ten Hag did sort of that double change there. Now, Maguire was brilliant. I actually think Maguire put in a man of the match performance, and that is, you know, Harry Maguire put in an £80 million performance today. Now, I've always said, look, I don't mind Maguire sticking around as a third, fourth choice centre back with the injuries he's had, because I think Maguire's a much better player than Lindelof, and his physicality works better with Lisandro Martinez, and we saw that today. If Maguire is good, he's a good player. Like, you know, he was good for England. He's had good times at United, but he hasn't been good enough across the board. Like, when Maguire's good, he's good, and you know he's a better player than Lindelof. It's just on his wages and the fact that, you know, he's getting old and we've only got 1 year left in his deal. I can understand wanting to cash in on him and then getting a replacement. But he was brilliant. He was limping at the end. I think he was playing a little bit injured with a knock. He put in an absolute shift, and he had a better game than Martinez today. And, you know, I love Lisandro Martinez. Martinez also had a good game, but he was phenomenal, Harry Maguire, because that interception when Fulham had a 2v1, that could have been 1-0 Fulham. We could have gone home with 0 points today if that wasn't for Maguire. So, you know, got to give credit where credit is due to Maguire. But I saw a lot of negativity online. Now, I'm not going to pretend it was this amazing performance and that we're going to win the league. But I think people are... I saw a couple of people online compare this to the 1-0 win versus Wolves, saying we haven't changed. When we beat Wolves 1-0, this is our XG, 1.53 to their 2.49 XG, and Wolves should have had a penalty and we were dominated. Fulham had 0.48 XG, we had 2.72 XG, so we had double the amount of XG we had in the first game of the season last year, and also Wolves had 5 times more XG than Fulham. We created the better chances, we limited Fulham to very few chances when you look at actually what happened versus Wolves away last year. And if I can find this statistic here, Fulham created 0.42 chances and just had 2 shots on target in 96 minutes today. Out of possession, we were better. We conceded less shots. We weren't conceding 20 shots a game. We were so much more compact out of possession. We looked a lot better out of possession. You know, Mazraoui is, you know, we're missing a midfield signing or two. You can see that. But we still were good. Højlund, Euro, De Ligt's going to be added to that, of course. You know, Shaw could be added to that. We're going to improve on top of this. You know, chance conversion was the biggest issue. Garnacho missed an open goal this week. Rashford missed one last week. Doesn't mean they're bad players. It happens in football. Do not give Garnacho a stick. Do not give Rashford a stick. Both had good games. Obviously, Rashford didn't miss an open goal today. And it was very unselfish of Rashford to play it into Garnacho when he could have got the goal himself with confidence. So, fair play to Rashford. Bruno could have had 2. Mount and Casemiro also had chances. We could have won that game 3-0. We generally could have won that game 3-0. And pressing structure looked better. It's not perfect, but it was so much better. And I thought Mount brought a lot to that pressing structure. And Ahmad, to be fair, off the ball. You know, it's not perfect, but considering how bad it was last year, you can see improvement. Out of possession, particularly in the first half in the right half space, in those attacking zones, there was really good movement there. And I really liked that. But we just need to be consistent in possession across the 90, because there was about a 20-minute period in the second half where we were just booting it long and went back to old United a little bit in possession. We created a lot of chances, you know. How many chances we created today? Could have scored 3. Bruno should have had a goal today. He should have took one of those chances. We didn't concede lots of shots. We looked less open. We looked tactically and physically better. Again, not perfect. I'm not going to say that we're amazing, but compared to last year, there is improvement. And what do I want to see under Ten Hag this season? Progress. I'm not expecting us to win the league or do anything crazy, but I want to see progress. I want to see a style. I want to see a system, and I saw that today, and that is why I'm happy. And I think there were some really good movements in the right half space in the first half, just wasn't consistent. But while Ahmad had a quieter game, I think some of his movements and retention, ability to retain the ball and do these patterns of play was really, really intricate. And I'd like to see Ahmad have a go with Zirkzee, but Garnacho, when he comes off the bench, he's absolutely electric. I thought Casemiro looked better, had a much better game. Casemiro is becoming a bit of a creator in the final third for us, actually. 4 passes into the final third, 3 chances created, 2 were big. You know, Casemiro had a good game, and I think Casemiro played well, but he looks at the end of his physical level. He looks like he's giving everything physically and that he's going to burn out after a few games and that he can't go on like this sustainably. I just think he's really giving it all physically, but I don't know how well we'll cope with it. But credit where credit is due. Casemiro is good, but I can see why we want to freshen up with Ugarte. Maino had a good game. He won the ball back a few times, had a really good game, and the technical ability to link with sort of Ahmad and Zirkzee showed a little bit of moments there as well. Well, actually, not so much with Zirkzee, because Zirkzee came on the pitch later, but with Ahmad, do you know what I mean? But I think he will eventually link really well with Zirkzee when he comes on, is what I mean. Mount out of possession contributes so much. You know, Mount in possession, I think, you know, Bruno is better in that role because of what Bruno adds in possession. You get Bruno more involved in play. But out of possession, when Mount came off, the press fell a bit. And I think our press was a lot better. It still wasn't perfect, but Mount, you know, his pressing, his movement at possession helped us keep structure. And you can see as a system player that the team seems to play better when Mount plays. But I do think Bruno should start as a 10 with Zirkzee ahead of him so Bruno can get more involved, as good as Mount was out possession, just because I think in possession we look a lot better that way. Kobbie Mainoo again had a very solid half. I think particularly those first 30 minutes versus Fulham. In the first half he was good. You could see he tired a bit in the second half, so I understood why he came off. And yeah, Dalot had a very solid game as well at left back. Did the job. So very happy with Dalot. Just thought I'd give them a little bit of credit there. I think Dalot and Mainoo are just players that have consistently been good for United this last year under Ten Hag, and they've done the job 7, 8 out of 10. And yeah, defensively I thought we improved. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. I do apologise this video's come out late, but I was in London. Thank you for watching. Bye.